I'm so glad you could come. This is going to be such an exciting day.
It's 1971, and the biggest movie of the year is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Open it, Charlie. Let's see that golden ticket.
Wouldn't that be fantastic? It's not fair to raise his hopes.
Never mind. Go on, open it, Charlie. I want to see that gold.
It's August 6th. Balham, London sees the birth of its very own Oompa Loompa, Turlough Martin.
If you are wise, you'll listen to me.
I never thought I'd miss you half as much as I do. And I never thought I'd feel this way, the way I feel about you.
I remember being terribly excited at having a sibling, and absolutely adoring him, and being very concerned to do everything possible to look after him, and showing him off to all my friends from school. I do remember that he had, Mum had bought some rather nice cot sheets with a pattern on them, and she had bought him a matching baby grow, and I remember going in to get him up one morning all excited, and because the baby grow and the sheet were exactly identical, I remember walking in and thinking that he'd been decapitated and only his head left in the bed, and shrieking.
Turley Boo. My fondest memories of young Turlough was being present in Hoadley Road one Christmas morning, sharing his room, as he awoke to open a special, heavily wrapped present at the foot of his bed. The tearing and ripping of wrapping paper drowned by Turlough's squeals as he made it through the layers. Oh, it's a... Another layer thrown to the wind. Oh, it's a...
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Another sheet dismantled. Oh, it's what I've always wanted.
Yes.
Present still masked by a final layer. Oh, it's an army suit, just what I've always wanted.
Oh, by the way, that's not yours.
What? That's not mine?
Guitar, jamming good with weird and the spiders from Mars, when they played at left hand.
The greatest clue to his character, which I got sight of when he was only 5 or 6, was when he returned from a holiday in the north of Ireland, and he had been in one of his uncle's pubs and saw the money moving across the counter when he returned to our house in Hoadley Road. He immediately wanted to set up a pub, but I told him that that was not possible. He would have to think of other ways of making money. So he decided that we would wash cars. And I said, that's a good idea. And I had in mind that washing my own car and giving him 50p or whatever. So I got him a bucket of water and a chamois, and out he went out the house to wash the car. But he turned and walked down the street past the car. So I said, hey, come back, what are you doing? And I said, wash my car. And he put down the bucket in disgust, put his 2 hands on his hip and said, what is the point of working for money that we've already got?
Turlough Martin, English. Turlough must pay more attention in class. His performance in the weekly comprehension exercise have been erratic. Efforts must be sustained. The exam comprehension result was not satisfactory. Words were miscopied. By the early 80s, Turlough is becoming quite the student as he moves from Cranmore to St George's in Weybridge, where Turlough's academic and artistic flair were given free rein. There was time to play, design games, edit and write magazines like this, the free Quick Shot. It was as a thespian that Turlough's light shone brightest. In the Scottish play, where he pleased at least one critic. His role in the Playboy of the Western World also drew attention. It was perhaps this O'Casey play that drew Turlough to a Playboy lifestyle. One that would very soon backfire.
Well, maybe this could be the ending, with nothing left of you, 100 wishes.
Gonna get up, gonna get up, gonna get up. Gonna get up, gonna get up, gonna get up. And time won't take my love away.
February 1989. Dear Mrs. Martin, I regret having to write to you about a recent incident involving your son Turlough. He is a school prefect and recently was thoughtless and foolish to accept a can of lager with another prefect from a fourth form boarder. It is forbidden to introduce alcohol into the school and to accept alcohol from another boy, particularly 3 years one's junior, is an act of great irresponsibility. Turlough has compromised his integrity as a prefect, and I had spoken to the prefect body less than a week before about fulfilling their responsibilities. Therefore, I have felt it necessary to suspend your son as a prefect for the remainder of this term. He may not, of course, wear his prefect's tie, and I have moved him from his room in the prefect's corridor to a room in the Keene house. I shall reassess the situation at the end of term to see if I wish to reinstate him as a prefect or not. Yours sincerely, Walter Minton, Headmaster.
One of the things about Turlough that anyone who knows him will recognise is a part of his character of which he is particularly proud, is that he is a self-styled fanny magnet. Or I should say was in his youth. I mean, clearly he's a bit past it now, 40 over the hill. But I would like to take credit for his early success with the ladies. I remember when he was about 11, he went on a PGL adventure holiday and was rather smitten with a young lady from another school somewhere else in the country. And I remember him coming home and being quite anxious to kind of, maintain this long-distance romance. And he'd got this girl's phone number and he was going to ring her up, but he needed to know what he was going to say to her. So he very wisely came to his older and wiser big sister to get some romantic advice on, how to deal with the ladies. And I gave him a whole string of brilliant chat-up lines and, nice little compliments, nice little witty retorts that he could drop into the conversation. And he kind of worked himself up and he worked himself up and he worked himself up and eventually plucked up the courage and he rang this said young lady. And I don't know if she actually got to say anything at all, because there was literally this machine gun rally of all the things that I told him to say in very, very quick succession, at which point he sort of ran out and went, bye. But I like to think that that's where it all started, so that was my contribution to the Turlough of today.
And have some fun.
The chills that you spill up my back leave me filled with satisfaction when we're done. Satisfaction of what's to come. I couldn't ask for another.
With all of its demands for study, Turlough was most keen to continue with his love of the stage, making his mark with critical acclaim. Immortal lines were being uttered, demanding a great deal from the lead actors. Turlough Martin played Richard III with a broad northern accent and a comic malevolence that hinted at mischievous intent rather than inherent evil. And despite complete confidence in his own singing voice, he did receive 1 or 2 brickbats along the way. Hard luck to all those poor deluded fools who signed themselves up for the karaoke. They should have realised, as did Evelyn, that it was in fact a band. What pros they were. Mind you, someone really should tell that Turlough Martin bloke from Trinity that he really can't sing for toffee. He's useless. Perhaps he should sing for those wasters in Blow, Oxford's most spiteful band. A bigger surprise was his fresh approach to sporting opportunities. I hope all is well with you in sunny Spain. I thought it was about time I wrote to you, but as I'm sure you'll understand, I have had a lot on my plate. I've just come back from, of all things, playing rugby for the Trinity Lady Margaret Hall's second 15 against Wadham College. Bet you didn't expect that. We did, however, get beaten 10-0, and 2 people were taken off with injuries. Neither does my sporting activity end there, as I'm also rowing for the Trinity Novice A crew in the Christchurch Regatta 8. After all these years, I'm finally getting involved in sport. And now on BBC One television, it's time to play Separated at Birth. Tonight's special contestant, Turlough Martin.
Hergé's Adventure friends.
You look perfect. In fact, you probably are perfect.
Great lovers.
Well, how far do you think too far would be then?
Maybe this.
Bad timing.
So I came after your fiancé?
No, you were 32.
Smashing climax.
It's pretty easy. Just say I do whenever anyone asks you a question.
I do.
Hugh Grant, Andy McDowell, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, rated R.
As they are being made, we shall prove ourselves once more able to defend our island home.
Loads of people have signed up and it's all great. What do you think? And the client is, okay, how much money have you made me? What's it worth? We need to engage. If you talk to people as individuals, if you talk to the consumer as one person rather than as a market, if you give them communications that are triggered, personalised, that are integrated, if you remember what they said in one place and reflect it elsewhere, if you talk to people as individuals, they will buy from you, they'll keep buying from you, and they'll stay with you and not flock to your competitors.
He was very interested in World War II, and I thought it was terrific for his social history, so I was always encouraging him. I used to take him to fairs where they had militaria, and also took him to Jersey a few times where we saw the German hospital. But the most interesting memory on that front was the first time we came to Spain, and we were having lunch in the Virgen del Mar with this old man and his wife, who were rumoured to be escapees from the Third Reich. And he said to Turlough, I said, Turlough's very interested in the Second World War. Maybe you could discuss it with him. And he said to Turlough, who bombed Guernica? So by way of prompt, I leant over and I said, Spanish Civil War. And he immediately said, oh, the Condor Legion, you know, fleet so and so bad. And he was 9. We were so proud, me and Maggie, and nearly fell about because the guy was so shocked.
While most of us dream of how our lives could be more exciting, dynamic or pulse racing as we lie on our comfy couches, the brave one or two among us, like Turlough Martin, go out searching, gung-ho for adventure along that unexplored river, up that yet-to-be-climbed peak, or to the depths of the oceans. Thanks to the News of the World, who've been tapping Turlough's phone for the last few years, we're exclusively able to bring you a short extract from a forthcoming bestseller from the very pen of the intrepid explorer. The words of the author are spoken by an actor. Well, I did appear in a couple of school plays. Chapter 2. Turlough is dead. Viva el Capitan. As an inevitable consequence of hanging around in bars, no, not in that way, cheeky, I was by now beginning to develop a wide circle of friends and acquaintances, and was having altogether too good a time in Cusco to induce me to hurry away. Consequently, my intended few nights of hedonism quickly became weeks, and before I knew it, I was a full-time Cusco resident, with a rented room in a squalid apartment, and a broad assortment of drinking companions, ready, willing, able and available in any bar I cared to enter. A favourite risk of mine is telling dangerous people extravagant lies, or at least it used to be. I didn't realise this before, but my Cusco history makes this point all too clear. I'd passed off the usual fibs and blags before, haven't we all? Guest lists, club entry, and what have you. And I thoroughly revelled in the joy of extravagant bullshitting someone and getting away with it. Now the stakes were a wee bit higher. To be honest, I think it stems from some sense of inadequacy. This may go some way to explain how my elaborate impersonation of an army officer first came about. Unsurprisingly, this alter ego was ultimately to get well out of hand, and I'm extremely fortunate that it never led to me being found dead in a gutter. I don't know. I suppose I felt that life was passing me by and I had to live a bit. Consorting with banditos obviously has its danger, and realising this, I readily adopted a persona which I imagined would afford me a certain degree of security. Presumingly, I could carry it off. As a mother, tell me about what the concerns might have been because of his adventures.
God, I was absolutely terrified, and it was brilliant getting feedback, and of course we all laughed our way through the Amazon, all those adventures, because fortunately we heard about everything after they'd happened. We weren't living it with him. He was staying in Thailand in the hotel with Mike, who was an old Georgian, and he went off on a diving adventure. They hired a boat, and I think there were 5 people on it, and I think it was Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. Anyway, they got into trouble very quickly. There were 2 life jackets on board. The mast fell on one of them, and they couldn't be found because of the patrols couldn't locate them. And suddenly Turlough was able to get in touch on his mobile phone with Mike, the friend from St. George's, and he immediately alerted the consul, the British consul, and Turlough had the very bright idea, all his military exploits as a child coming together. He put tin foil, sent the cook up the mast to put some tin foil on it, and within minutes the Navy destroyer or the local rescue boat that had been unable to locate them came round the corner, and they had a very, very lucky escape.
I'll tell you a story that happened to me one day as I went down to Youghal by the sea. The sun, it was bright and the day it was warm. Says I, a quiet pint wouldn't do me no harm. I went in and I called for a bottle of stout. Says the barman, I'm sorry, all the beer is sold out.
Well, Turlough and I are both very, very proud of our Irishness. We are plastic paddies and very proud of the fact. And part of that very much is wrapped up in the whole sort of musical culture of Ireland. We both love having a good sing of the Irish songs. And on one particular holiday, we all ended up in Donegal for a rather brilliant week in which we were Out of the pub occasionally, but no more often than was absolutely essential for sleep and refreshment purposes. During that week, everybody would have a sing, and you'd be called upon, and you knew that, you know, when it was your turn, you'd have to be ready with a song that you knew all the way through. We were in Granny's house, and we were invited to a party in the Moy. And sure enough, the sing-song started, and we were called upon to perform our party pieces. And as I had done all week, I started off with my song, all about the woman with the wooden leg, who used to tie a string on it and play it like a fiddle. Reasonably amusing song, nice and easy to sing, good kind of warm-up number. And then, you know, it moved on, and the next song, next to be called was Turlough, and Turlough trotted out a song which I'm sure will be familiar to everyone watching this production, the song Johnny Jump Up, which is all about the wonderful powers of cider.
Says I'll try cider, I've heard that it's good. Oh never, oh never, oh never again. If I live to 100 or 110. For I fell to the ground and I couldn't get up after drinking a quart of the Johnny Jump Up.
And features in it a man who threw down his crutches and danced on his feet. Next song, we were then asked, could we please sing together? And there was only one song that we really could sing together, and that was, and the band played Waltzing Matilda. And a big Turkish shell knocked me arse overhead, and when I awoke in my hospital bed, I saw what it had done, and I wished I were dead. Never knew there were worse things than dying. Terribly, terribly sad song, all about the First World War. And in it, the hero has both his legs blown off. It was at this point that we noticed that everybody at the party had got very quiet and was looking a bit embarrassed, because our host had lost one of his legs in a car accident 8 months earlier. Absolutely mortifying and shaming, and one of the most awful, embarrassing moments of our lives. But we shared it, and you know, what's shared you get through.
So what's next for our Turlough Boo? A man who's already travelled the globe and made fortunes for himself and others.
Well, I think it would just have to be, don't forget your favourite sister when you become a billionaire.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling
helped raise glasses and laughter for his many friends.
That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's
perhaps, at last, a permanent mate.
Well, now that Sarah is in his life and he is approaching the age of 40, I'm hoping that I will see great things in the future, and that he will have left his flying and diving antics behind.
And maybe a future generation of new adventurous Turlough Boos. Whatever the future holds, make sure it's a happy 40th birthday, Turlough.